But yeah, let's hop onto the predictions.
Yeah, I'll go first because once again you have beaten me because you beat me at everything apparently. So we did our predictions for Malaysia. As you know, we've already been kind of talking about who we chose for things. We're gonna kind of skim over it. Miko's gonna put the pictures up as well, so you'll be able to see
Yep.
all of it. I had Rosberg winning. He got second in the end, so I only got 5 points there. I had Fernando in second, and he got fourth. Yep, he got fourth. Already talked about that, so I only got 2 points there. Hamilton, I had in third because I'm an idiot. And he got first, of course, so I only got 2 points there. Hulkenberg, I had in sixth, and for like most of the race was in sixth. And I was saying to myself, well, thank God for Hulkenberg. At least I'll get 10 points there. And then no, he goes and he passes Button, I think, and he ends up finishing in fifth. Or was it a retire? I don't remember. But the point is, only 5 points for Hulkenberg. And then Massa I had in eighth, so that I got 5 points there. And then the only person that I accurately predicted the position of, Daniil Kvyat, which might be part of the reason that I'm liking him more and more too, because he just keeps getting me points in the GP predictor. And then I did predict fastest lap. I was pretty sure that was going to go to Lewis Hamilton, even if he didn't win. And it's such a bummer too. I had Hamilton in first and Rosberg in third, and I changed it right before going to bed on Saturday night. And if I hadn't have done that, I would have had 25% more points if I had just not switched those two drivers. So in the end, I only got 34 points for this round. I got 60 last time. And last time was nearly impossible to predict, so that shows you guys how poorly I did this round. Only a 30% accuracy with 0 bonus points. And I lost
Ouch.
about 7,000 ranking in the global rankings. Still in the top 10% despite doing that poorly, but yeah, that's a hefty drop.
Yeah, and I got a total of 54 points. I got Hamilton, Rosberg, those two right in position. Then I had Fernando in third
Hmm.
and Vettel in fourth.
Nice. So 5 points each there.
5 points each. Yeah, then I had Kimi fifth. Well, he
Yep.
dropped from between, and so did Daniel Ricciardo. So no points for him. And in the start of the race, when both were still in the race, I was like, yes, this is going great. Everybody's almost in position, at least just a little switching around. And then they both
Drop.
just fell back. Yeah,
Yeah.
because then I had Hulkenberg in seventh and Button in eighth.
Oh,
Almost there.
so close.
Yeah. And then I had Bottas in ninth and Massa in 10th. So, in terms of all the drivers, in the first, I'd say, first 2 laps, they were everybody were almost there. I think Valtteri was about 12th or something.
Yeah,
But
still out of position.
He had a great great first lap. I think he gained like 6 positions in the start.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in pole position, I had Lewis Hamilton guaranteed pretty much to bring. If you just pick Lewis Hamilton this season, you're gonna get
50%, I would say.
50%
Yeah.
of the races at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna get it right.
I
And
think
had
I'm going to
fastest
do that.
lap- Yeah. Yeah. Fastest lap for Nico Rosberg. Didn't get it, and positions gained for Kevin Magnussen.
Mm.
He didn't get it, but that was based on his lack of running in FP3. So I thought
Yeah.
that he might miss
Quality.
qualifying
Yeah,
altogether.
yeah. Because McLaren were having car troubles in FP3. I remember that too. I actually had both McLarens out of the top 10, and that was part of the reason. That wasn't all of the reason, but that was part of the reason. I just took both McLarens out. I was pretty confident that at least one of them would finish in the points, but I couldn't tell you which one, so I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna drop them both. So let's talk a little bit about Bahrain. We're not going to go too bananas about it because, again, we do record these long before even the free practice sessions are recorded. So it's very difficult for us to try and predict it. But certainly, Mercedes is going to be strong. Absolutely. Especially because this is now a night race.
Yeah,
So what would have been potentially just as bad as Malaysia as far as tire wear is concerned is now really not that bad because the temperatures are so much lower in the evening hours. So I think, again, Mercedes are looking very strong for the win. It really depends on what sort of updates Red Bull is bringing.
yeah,
I think that's the most important thing to watch as far as teams bringing updates. No matter what updates McLaren or Ferrari bring, I don't think they're going to beat a Mercedes. They might get closer to the Mercedes, but I think Red Bull is really the only team that has the funding and the personnel to actually compete and possibly beat Mercedes next race. But it's entirely dependent upon Red Bull.
yeah. And Bahrain isn't such a aero track like Malaysia.
Yeah, it's more mechanical grip stuff. Certainly Sector
Yeah,
2.
has the car has to handle well in low speed as well. So it's also a bit more similar to Australia, where it's more start stop,
Hmm.
and I think that should suit the Williams better. So I expect them both to be higher up. And what else?
Probably Force
Uh,
India too. Actually, I think this
yeah,
this
might
might
be,
be a track that the Force India does pretty well at as well.
and it's
Um,
gonna be dry, guaranteed.
yeah, exactly. Which is going to be really good, especially for Williams.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if it ever rains there. So yeah, definitely going to be a dry race. Ferrari, I mean, I hope it's not like this all season long, but for Ferrari, again, for me, it's a lot of question marks. It really just depends on what they bring and how the car feels and how quickly they can start working on setup stuff and that sort of thing. Um, but I mean, they're going to be in the points for sure. I mean,
yeah.
they've already proved. I mean, they're 3 for 4 as far as finishing in the points this season so far. So they'll be in the points, that's for sure.
I think top
Probably,
six.
yeah, probably close to the podium, if not, on the podium itself. Just like you said, probably top six range. Somewhere between third and sixth. They're around there. Toro Rosso, I would expect once again, potentially. Again, though, because it's going to be cooler, the Renault teams don't have to worry quite as much in Bahrain rather versus a daytime race. So potentially, teams like Lotus, Toro Rosso, and Red Bull, they could potentially just do a little bit better at this night race than they have been doing in the recent daytime races.
Yeah, really looking forward to the. I mean, Singapore's a bit different to
Yeah,
me on
because it's
that
a
race.
city, so it's
Yeah,
it's a little more confined. Yeah, I really I like the. In fact, we did see it. I don't know if you saw it, but they did show during Bahrain testing. I think on the very last day of the second Bahrain test at
the
the end of the
tested the
day.
light.
Yeah, exactly. They turned all the lights on and they let the drivers have another 30 minutes around the track so they could make sure that there's no dark spots, no problem corners for the drivers, make sure everything's nice and safe. And it looked really good. They didn't
Yeah,
show a lot of footage. I mainly saw stuff from the pit lane, but you could see how bright it was and all that stuff. And I think it's going to be really interesting. And I think it also means that it's going to be on at a much more reasonable hour for like the British crowd.
yeah. Well, Bahrain isn't too far in the Middle East, so
Right.
it's
Like maybe 4 or 5 hours ahead, 6 at most.
yeah. It depends when the sun's setting, because it's closer to the equator. It's actually gonna be the sun's gonna be setting earlier in Bahrain than in Europe.
Okay, and the race is like
So
right after sun. It's not like they're racing at midnight or anything like that. They're racing at like
no,
8:30 p.m.
yeah, somewhere in the evening.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think it's another tough one to predict. Definitely going to have to see practice times, especially FP3 quali practice times. It's going to be another tough one to predict. I have a feeling that this year in general is going to be tough to predict. Personally, Malaysia was harder to predict for me than Australia. And I think that's because of, now that teams are bringing updates and stuff, that kind of just throws a curveball into everything. To use a baseball reference, sorry about that, European crowd. It really just jumbles things up. So it's really tough sometimes to try and predict who is going to do well in these, aside from Mercedes. Mercedes will do very, very well. All right, well, I think that is going to do it for this Boxcast. Join us next time where we'll be discussing the Bahraini Grand Prix and the upcoming Chinese Grand Prix. And thanks ever so much for watching.
Yeah, we'll see after the race.